Hello everybody, this is Caesar Sihan, and this is a blog for sales engineering. And I'm going to talk today about what is the profession of selling. What is selling? What is selling? Because in my opinion, the profession of selling is one of the most important professions in the world. And it is probably the most important meta profession. That is, the principles of selling apply in pretty much everything else. From parenting to teaching to running a business, you name it. And there are many definitions of what selling actually is, depending on who you're talking to. And in my view, selling is about serving the customer and is about an exchange of value, a fair exchange of value. So the salesperson is actually assisting the customer to make an educated decision in such a way, as a result, the value of his life is enhanced, and also I'm getting compensated for that, because that means an exchange of value. Both persons win. And this short message is addressed both to the salespersons who might think little of themselves, thinking, oh, I'm just a sales guy, and to the consumers who might think little of salespersons, somehow implying that they should get a real job, you know what I mean? Because people usually think little and low of salespersons because they think that selling is about lying, deceiving, taking advantage of, stuff like that. But this is just a crude and gross generalization that people actually tend to make pretty much about everything in their lives. I mean, they go to the doctor, they have a couple of bad experiences with the doctors, and then they turn around and tell to everybody else that, doctors are bad. You know what I mean? Or they need to fix their car. So they go to the dealership, and they have a couple of bad experiences with the mechanics there, and now they turn to everybody and say, all mechanics are bad. Don't go there. The mechanics are bad. So this is just a generalization, and the same goes for the selling experience. Because I have to agree, some salespersons are about deceiving, about lying, about taking advantage. I agree with that. But you see, this is not about the profession of selling. This is about that particular person, not about the occupation. It's a trait of the person, not about what he's doing, of its occupation. Because you're going to find these kind of people pretty much in all walks of life, everywhere. Even, even in your occupation, even in your profession, what you're doing and you're proud of, even there you're going to find in your branch of activity, you're going to find people like that who are, not really involved, not really for that profession, but more for themselves. And by the way, how would you feel if somebody would judge you and your profession thinking about those guys? Perhaps they had a bad experience, I don't know, maybe 11 years ago in some other part of the country, with some unprofessional, colleagues of yours working in the same branch of activity, and now they come to you and they judge you and they label you as being bad based on that, old experience. Or even worse, perhaps they didn't even have had an experience. Perhaps they heard the story from somebody else and now they judge you based on that story. How does that go? See what I mean? Also, if you are a consumer and you still think that selling is worthless, or even as a salesperson, if you still think that selling is worthless, consider for a moment, just consider how your life would be different if somebody a while ago took the time and really was a great salesman to sell you on the idea of eating healthier, or exercising a little bit more, enjoying a little bit of exercising, or even to thinking or adopting a more positive attitude, a more optimistic view of life, perhaps focusing more on opportunities rather than on the problems. How would your life would be different? Because I know my life would probably be much better, much more different if I have had those habits long before. I know that. So in this respect, I'm thinking and I'm suggesting that parents should learn sales skills and become better salespersons to sell to their kids the possibility of a better life. Teachers must become better salespersons to sell to the students the value of learning and the value of increased understanding of the world around them. Also, we as human beings, in a very general perspective, we are part of groups. We live in groups, and groups are about relationships. Great relationships are based on fair exchange of value, because if they are not, then they are based on a taking away value without giving anything in return. And we all know where those kind of relationships really end. You see, I worked in sales for more than 20 years, and I learned that nothing happens until a sales takes place, until somebody sells something to somebody else, and a fair exchange of value is taking place. And that's my story, and I stick with it. However, that doesn't mean that my story is absolutely true. It doesn't mean that. And I know you have your opinions about this process of selling, because you've been involved into a process of selling at any moment, and at some moment in your life, on one side or the other of the process of the selling. And I know you had your experiences, and I know you took your perspectives on that. And if you have comments about what I just said, I'll be glad to take them into consideration, and together perhaps building a richer model of what selling is, what the profession of selling is, and together build a better world in this respect. I'm looking forward for your comments. Until then, take good care and enjoy the rest of the day.